Here's the second split, and then here's the third split coming off it. So these are three smaller arteries that come off the brachiocephalic artery. This first guy, he's going to bring blood into the arm. So this one right here at this point is our subclavian artery, the right subclavian artery. The clavicle for the cat will be located approximately right here in the shoulder area. The right subclavian artery then comes into the armpit region for the cat. And I think this is the one that got torn away, right? Number 6. So in the armpit region, this one just got torn, but you guys have to imagine this connected with this. This is the armpit region. This is the axillary artery. Coming out of the armpit region, going into the upper arm, we call this the brachial artery. Now if we follow this down, to the lower arm, the brachial artery would split into a radial and an ulnar artery, but we're not doing those on the cat. Okay, again, coming back, our brachiocephalic artery. Now we're going to tackle the second artery coming off. This one is called the right common carotid artery. On your list, that's number 5. Up here, close to the skull, the right common carotid artery will split into the right internal and right external. We're not looking for the split on the cat. Okay, coming back to our brachiocephalic artery, the third artery coming off, left common carotid artery. And it's a mirror image of the right common carotid artery. Left common carotid artery up close to the base of the skull, again would split into an internal and external carotid artery. We're not doing that. Okay, so that's our first major artery coming off the aortic arch. Responsible for perfusing all of the head and neck structures, responsible for perfusing the right arm. Okay, the next artery, this guy is just called the left subclavian artery, starting here and then coming all the way up here into the region where the clavicle would be. So this is still left subclavian artery.
I'm getting tired. Yeah, I'm good.
So I think they put the string for this guy, let's see, is number L4 on your list, the left subclavian. Okay, so, but you guys shouldn't think it's just right where that string is. This whole structure was left subclavian. At about this point, it tore away also, but right in this region where they've numbered it as number 6. This one numbered as 6. That's in the armpit region, so what would be the name of the vessel there?
Axillary.
Left axillary. Coming into the upper arm region, numbered as 7.
Brachial.
Brachial. And then again, if we went below the elbow, brachial would split into an ulnar and a radial artery.
Okay.
Now, let's see. Touch the cat. Now we're going to follow the descending aorta down. No, I don't think anything can be transferred from crispy crunchy at this point. Okay, so I'm just going to reflect back. This is what's left of the little lung tissue. But here you guys can make out the descending aorta. And the blue pin is stuck into part of the descending aorta. That's labeled as number 1 on your list.
Yeah, because I couldn't get the string around it.
This is still descending aorta. Oh, number 2. Okay, so approximately right here below the level of the lungs and heart would be skeletal muscle sheet called the diaphragm muscle, right about at this level. So we refer to, this is the thoracic region, this is the abdominal pelvic region. Here we refer to this as the descending thoracic aorta. Below the diaphragm, we refer to it as the descending abdominal aorta, so based on region. Okay, so now we come into the abdominal region. There's this vessel coming off, that's called the celiac trunk. Right at the base where it comes off that descending abdominal aorta, that's called the celiac trunk. If you follow this out, you're going to find that it splits to form 3 arteries. A little hard to make out on Crispy Crunchy, but one is the hepatic artery carrying blood to the liver, one is the splenic artery carrying blood to the spleen, and one is the gastric artery carrying blood to the stomach. So the way it's labeled here, we've just marked out the trunk before those 3 splits. And we'll ask you guys to name that structure the trunk. Question cards might be the artery that brings blood to the stomach, the artery that brings blood to the spleen, artery that brings blood to the liver, because we can't see them. Okay. Now we come down below the celiac trunk, and we see this split coming off, the descending abdominal aorta. This guy is bringing blood into all of the mesentery or the gut. So that one is number 9 on your list. This guy is the superior mesenteric artery. If we come down along the descending abdominal aorta a little further to this point, you guys see there's a second vessel coming off, smaller in size. Also going to carry blood in to perfuse all the gut structure. This is inferior mesenteric artery, number 10. So superior, higher up, larger, inferior, lower down, smaller. Now the only guy we have to hunt for up in this region are the renal arteries, and they're going to come off like a T. So here is our dried up little cat kidney, and the string is tied around the renal artery, the left renal artery. We'd have to dig deep to find the other kidney, and that would be the right renal artery. We're not going to do the gonadal arteries on the cat. Okay, so now we come down here to the pelvic region. So here's the little cat waist. So lower back area, and then the hip bones would be around in here. So coming down the descending abdominal aorta, you guys can see that there's the first split right here. Form these 2 branches. Common iliac artery. This one on the left side, left common iliac artery. Wait, I may have to take that back. I think cat is a little different. Cat doesn't have the common, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, so you erased that on your recorders. Okay, so this is where cat is a little different from the human. This first split forms what's called the external iliac artery. This one coming more medially, you can see this is actually just a little extension of the descending abdominal aorta, and then it splits. These are the internal iliac arteries.
Where was the external?
The external is just this first split coming off.
Okay.
And then the internal would be these guys coming off.
It's like below it or out of the
Yeah,
middle of it.
so we don't really technically say that the cat has a common iliac artery.
Okay. Just an external and
External and internal. And then the external is the one that's going to give rise to the femoral artery in the leg. So all of this in the upper leg is the femoral artery. The cat also has a caudal artery, and we can't see it here, but it would be just coming right down here, kind of deep, to bring blood into all of the musculature of the tail. And that would be the equivalent of our median sacral artery. And you can see that on some of our torso models. So I think that was everybody there. Yeah, actually these are more